Welcome to Queer Wednesday Wisdom. My name is Dr. Lulu. If you see me looking this way, I'm looking at LinkedIn and YouTube. And if I'm looking this way, I'm looking at all of y'all on TikTok. Thank you for the follow and the likes. Go ahead and tap on your screen is what I hear to give us all of this maximum exposure. Thank you all so much. So welcome, Amber. Well, Monique is missing now, but Amber Monique Johnson. I wanted to get your name correct because last week I had just recovered from COVID, so my memory was misbehaving. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you don't know me yet, my name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician. I'm an award-winning LGBTQ plus advocate. I don't like the word advocate, so I like agitator. So I'm the award-winning LGBT plus agitator. And my claim to fame is I agitate the governor of Texas. So if you live in Texas, you know I stay at the Capitol or the governor's mansion because I'm the parent of an LGBT plus child. And more so, I'm the parent of a Black trans woman. Hey, Ron from Alabama. What's going on? Welcome to the show. So the show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything you would like to know about the queer community, please type it in the comment section. If you are a homophobe, I will call you out. I'm not Michelle Obama. I do not go up when y'all go down. I come down there with you. So ask me good questions. I will make it out when she's laughing.
You got to let them know sometimes.
My guest is laughing. Sometimes, I mean, every once in a while. But if you're a troll, you're a troll. So yeah. But welcome to the show. I'm so excited. Everybody's coming in. Tell me where you're joining us from. If you're on TikTok, let us know where you're joining us from. Please share the video. Let somebody know because you never know whose heart you're going to touch, whose life you're going to save because the person you hate may very well be somebody that you know. So we're going to be talking about sexual trauma. So it might be a trigger. I'm just letting you know now because sexual minorities, aka LGBTQ plus people, are very high risk for sexual trauma. We're going to be talking about people that are at work and feel invisible, feel unseen, feel like the inequity is against them, feel unequal. If you've ever felt that way, please type in the comment section. TT from Sarasota, Florida, welcome to the party. My guest is the beautiful Amber Johnson. So Amber, where are you joining us from?
I am joining from Atlanta, Georgia today.
The ATL in the house. So if you don't know me yet, I never find out anything except the name of my guests because I like my reactions to be authentic and to be unrehearsed and to be real. So I literally didn't even know she was joining from the ATL. My best sister coach friend lives in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, yes. So, my goodness. And you're a Black woman, so you know it's going to get hot in her in about 2 years. Yes, honey. So why did you decide to join the show today? Why did you decide to come on the show? And Dr. Lulu invited me is not an answer. Marilyn says nice to you. She's like, nice from the ATL. Yes.
Yes.
Come on the show today.
Well, I'm always happy to discuss queer issues, specifically, things that are related to the work that I do, which is to support survivors of sexual and domestic violence. And it is a very important topic that not enough people know about, not enough people know how to discuss these topics in a consent-conscious way. So raising more awareness is always very important to me, and I'm always to discuss when I have an opportunity.
Yes. And as Black women, and I think we may or may not have touched on this, earlier, but as Black women, one of the things I say very, very loudly, even to the guy that I'm not dating, I told him, I said, listen, Black men are the number one killers physically, emotionally, financially, psychologically, and otherwise of Black women. We just have to come and call a thing a thing. And I was blessed with 3 sons, and now one is trans. So I am one of the people I'm talking to. We have to raise the men that we want to marry. We have to raise the men that want to date. It's nobody's work to do it for you. So Black women, matriarchs, I'm talking to you. You can't, gone are the days when you just assume that the men are going to know. They don't know what they don't know. You know what you want. So my favorite thing to say is Women, when you're having a problem with a relationship, you don't go to your girlfriends, you go to the men, because men know why men act the way they act and vice versa. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And also going to that person if you know it's safe enough to address them.
Oh, talking about safety. That's the work I do in the queer space is all about safety. Raising an ally, creating allies, finding allies is about safety. If you're not safe, you're not an ally. Because
Right.
an ally is someone that sees your fight, fights with you, and fights for you. And Marilyn says it's such an important topic. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Marilyn, join in the conversation. If you have any questions, you have something you want to add to it, please add to it. This is not Dr. Lulu and Amber Johnson's show. This is everybody's show. So if you have any concerns, any personal experiences that you feel comfortable enough to share, please share. It is open. You never know whose heart you're going to touch. So Amber, I'm going to ask you this question only because I can. What do you do for a living, and why did you decide to get into this? It's almost like a dark space that no one wants to touch. Why are you you know how they say fools rush in where angels fear to strike? Why are you a fool rushing into where nobody wants to go to? Because I'm like that. I'm talking about accepting your LGBT child when everybody else is like, condemn them, kill them. You know what I mean? So why did you go into this kind of space? Why?
I came to lighten the darkness. So my mission in life is to support survivors of sexual and domestic violence, and specifically give love and support, resources, and holistic healing to the most underserved survivors of sexual and domestic violence. So, I mean, women's rights are far from where they need to be. And of course, this includes women, and it also includes the LGBTQIA plus community. It includes men. It includes non-binary and gender non-conforming people. It includes deaf and disabled people who are survivors, and they face some of the highest rates of sexual violence. This also includes military survivors and children, people who have a tremendous amount of stigma and fear in speaking up. That is who I am here for. So I am the founder of Amour Center and Safe House, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to underserved survivors.
And so if you're on TikTok and you can't hear her very well, she says she's the founder and I guess CEO, president, all of that good stuff of Amour Safe House, AMOUR Safe House or AMOR?
Amour Center and Safe House.
Center and Safe House. So if you are in the Atlanta, Georgia, this is what we do. If you're in the ATL area, if you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area, if you're in Georgia, you know what? Even if you're not in Georgia, tell someone about Amour Safe House, because you never know who is going to need it. I was an abused spouse. Let me tell you a story. When I was a younger version of me, I was dating this guy. I've always, God forgive me, I've always loved tall men. What are you going to do? I want a tall, dark stranger. I've always wanted tall men. So he was, I don't know, maybe 6'4", and I'm 5'5", but I was like 5'3" then because I was still growing. And we were dating, and one day he gave me what we call in Nigeria a dirty slap. Okay?
Oh, no.
That the neighbors hear. I went flying across the room, and I temporarily lost hearing.
That's horrible.
So I'm not here talking about, Dr. Lulu is just speaking. I'm speaking from experience. And when I was getting divorced, one of the things that my ex-husband told my mother and my father was, when I never left a mark on her. Because in his mind, he's thinking the only way you can abuse a woman is to leave a mark on her physically. Well, guess what?
True.
Hello, the emotional scars.
Exactly.
Fibromyalgia from that union. Fibromyalgia today. So if you are, struggling, if you've been a victim, our hearts go out to you. If you're going to feel triggered, you don't have to watch this, because we may talk about stuff that you may not want to relive. And I completely understand it. But Marilyn says you are on my FYP. The topic is so important. It affects the entire family. What's FYP? Do you know what that is?
The For You page. That's like the homepage.
Okay, I didn't know. Hey, the funny thing about Dr. Lulu, if I don't know something, I'm going to ask, because I'm not going to stay in my ignorance. So now I know For You page. Thank you so much, Marilyn, Mystic Mystic Doc, for that comment. I didn't realize that, and thank you for sharing. That is so important, and it affects the entire family. So, Amber, before we go to the first break, what are your thoughts about what she said? Marilyn says it affects the entire family. In your experience working with, really, I want to almost call the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. You call the disabled, you call the LGBT, you call really the gender non-conformers, the trans. These are the people, my child, are the people who are at the bottom. They are the most hurt. We have seen news where this is someone who was in a disabled home, gets, I don't know, serially raped and gets pregnant, or you just hear all these things. So in your experience working with these people, and by the way, thank you for your service.
Of course.
What are your thoughts about what Marilyn says? She says that it affects the entire family.
I mean, that's true that abuse and rape affect the whole family. It affects everyone involved. It affects generations. It creates a disharmony, so much trauma, makes it very difficult to function. Trauma makes it difficult to connect with people. Trauma creates severe pain and fear of people, and vulnerability, to connect with others. So it just really makes you feel unsafe in general. So, trauma is passed down as well. In addition to that, it gets passed down from one generation to the next. I've seen that happen in my own family, but the rainbow.
I want them to see you. I don't know if it can. I was trying to show them to you, but I guess that's not working because I really love what you're saying. Thank you so much. Keep going. I was trying to show them, but I'm only seeing the window. But keep going. That is so powerful. That trauma being passed down. Yes, keep going.
But just as trauma is passed down, so is healing.
Healing. Yes, you stole my line. Oh my God, that's my favorite line. Of course, I didn't create it, but that's one of my favorite lines. The fact that trauma can be handed down through generations. Healing can also be handed down through generations. And what you need to do is you need to say, for me, it stops here.
Exactly.
It stops with me.
It stops with you doing your own healing work.
Yes.
It's identifying those red flags and saying, nope, not today, not ever again. It stops with having healthy boundaries. It stops when you do that scary, scary work that you've been avoiding for so many years. That is how you stop generational trauma.
We have to do the work. So we're going to go on our first break. It's a virtual break. It doesn't really exist, but I'm getting ready for my CNN TV show. So I get to say we're at the quarter of the hour. We're going to take a quick break and come back. The show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. And if my guest is not dropping wisdom, I don't know what she's doing, because she's already told us about trauma being handed down through generations. She's talked about the fact that she works with the lowest of the lowly people who are at the highest risk for sexual trauma. When we come back for the next quarter of the show, we're going to talk about at the workplace. How can we identify trauma at the workplace? Everybody here has been traumatized in one way or the other. And you know what they say? Hurt people hurt people. I say hurt people who don't get healed hurt people. So if you're joining us from YouTube, from Instagram, please follow me, follow Amber. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. We'll be right back. My name is Dr. Lulu. Thank you so much, Marilyn. She's talking some good stuff.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Marilyn, Amber says thank you. Please, Marilyn, and everybody who can hear me, follow me on my LinkedIn so you can see my beautiful guest, because on TikTok we can't. You can only see me. But my beautiful guest is visible on LinkedIn and on my YouTube channel. My YouTube is at Dr. Lulu Talk Radio, and so is my LinkedIn. So just go type in Dr. Lulu. You see my beautiful face. Join us. We'll be right back. Take a break. Drink your water.
Okay.
Hug your boo, and we'll be right back.
All right. How long is the break?
That's it. That's
great. I'm ready.
That's why I said it's a virtual break. It's not real. I'm really I'm manifesting my TV show. So
I
I'm
love
practicing. I already manifested my radio show, so now I'm about to manifest my TV show. So yeah. So
it.
Marilyn says she will, and I am Connie63 just followed me. Thank you so much. Marilyn says you have to say it. It stops with them. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. And also, I do want to share, we have a survivor circle that is, it happens once a month, every first Saturday of every month, for survivors to gather together on Zoom, share their stories, and receive support. So if you would like to be a part of our survivor circle this upcoming Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, please contact Dr. Lulu. I will send the link to Dr. Lulu, or you can contact me on Instagram, and our Instagram is Amour Center Official, AMOUR Center Official.
What is your TikTok? Because we're being joined by a bunch of people on TikTok right now. So TikTok, if you can hear me, just give me 1 second. I'm going to read out. Do you have a TikTok, ma'am?
I'm sorry, we don't have a
Oh,
TikTok
that's fine. We don't have a TikTok yet, but we
yet.
have Instagram and we have LinkedIn. So read the Instagram again and I'll tell it to the people.
Yes, Amour Center Official. That is our page on Instagram, and on LinkedIn, our page is Amour Center and Safe House.
Yes. So on LinkedIn, I know you can already hear her, but on Instagram is Amor Center Official. Amor Center Official. So the show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. My dream for this show is to discuss treatment of queer folk at the workplace. Now, that kind of limits it to queer folk, but here's the thing. It doesn't really, because if you have been traumatized, while the word queer currently is being used for LGBT plus community, bottom line is you are different because of the trauma. If you have a disability, like I am 90% disabled veteran, you can't see by looking at me. But when I show you the scar on my neck, you know that I had a 4-hour surgery for C-spine stenosis. So I have chronic pain syndrome. I mean, just there's so many invisible illnesses that we have. So the show is really helping us see things that you don't see firsthand by discussing it at the workplace, because on LinkedIn they claim is a place for work. So let's go to LinkedIn and talk about it, because it's the human beings who get traumatized at home that take their trauma to work. So welcome to the show. The show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. We go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to continue with my guest, Amber Johnson. Oh, girl, that first quarter was already amazing. So tell us, as far as the workplace, do you have any, how do we therefore manage traumatized persons, whether it's ourselves or our coworkers at the workplace?
That's a wonderful question. Trauma shows up and affects all areas of life, including your professional life. So for some people, their trauma can show up in the way of having difficulty in keeping a job because they need more rest than people, or maybe being told what to do and given orders by their boss makes them feel uncomfortable or triggered. So those are things that people don't even think about when it comes to trauma in the workplace. And I think it's important to have sensitivity trainings when it comes to dealing with trauma and, employees who are traumatized. So just because that person is experiencing trauma doesn't mean they're extremely, doesn't take away their credentials. They're still smart, they're still talented, they're still creative, they're still able, but they're also dealing with trauma, which is really hard to balance out work life and trauma, when you're on that healing journey or you haven't even addressed the healing journey. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is, work can be a safe space for people who are being abused at home.
Yes.
There have been instances where employers have seen their employees coming to work with bruises or missing work, and they've even saved their lives by documenting what they've witnessed, seeing the abuse of their employee, just writing it down, trying to have conversations if they're able, but just being a witness can come in handy when that person does perhaps press charges against their abuser. So there's a lot of things that come to mind when we talk about trauma at the workplace.
I love everything you just said. So beautifully said. So beautiful. And you didn't even rehearse. I love it. I love that That's something I haven't thought about, but we've seen in movies where your co-worker could be a silent ally. They're not
Mhm.
going to necessarily ask you to, because we don't know who the abuser is. We don't know if they have a gun. We have heard about, I don't know if you heard about, was it in Atlanta, was it in Maryland, where the Ghanaian pastor went to work and shot his wife 7 times and killed her? And he had said he was going to kill her on tape, and he did kill her at work. So you're right about that. So what my guest just said was so powerful. If you are at work and you notice your co-worker coming in with bruises, and when they're gonna say, "Oh no, I fell down the stairs."
Mhm.
Everybody's excuse, "I fell down the stairs." What a powerful thing to do, to just document it, because you don't know when you might need to testify, and hopefully it will be to a live person. Your coworker will be alive, and maybe you can even secretly, maybe you have like, I know when I had my own practice, we had everybody had a red card. All the workers had a red card, and
Mhm.
all you had to do was just fan yourself with the red card. You don't have to say anything. That all of us know that there's a belligerent patient in that room, or that there's
Mhm.
somebody in the waiting room who was, causing trouble. Wahala.
Mhm.
So maybe you have something like that. Maybe you want to start something like that. And I was
Mhm.
going to ask you next, what does the coworker do? What does the boss do? What if it's your boss? I was the abused boss. Listen at this. Marilyn says, I am that girl. If I see something, I'm going to gently ask. We have to stop stigmatizing. We have to normalize having the conversations. Thank you so much, Marilyn. So what are you
Yeah.
thinking about this, Amber? About what if it's your boss that is being abused? I'll tell you the story about me being the boss that was being abused, but what are your thoughts about what do the employees now do if it's their boss that is the victim? Marilyn, thank you so much. Says she was diagnosed with, she had complete spinal fusion. Oh my goodness. Marilyn, thank you so much for joining. This is amazing that you were able to join us today. So good. But Amber, what are your thoughts about this? Like, if the boss is the one, for instance, who is being abused at work?
Well, bystander intervention can definitely save lives. So, if that person is like the owner of the corporation or the founder of the organization and they don't have a boss per se, and no one who is higher up to go to, just talking to that person personally and asking them, are you okay? How can I help?
Mhm.
How can I create a safe space for you? Do you want to go grab some coffee? Just trying to create a deeper bond with them can definitely help them feel more comfortable in opening up when you do start to have those important conversations with them, like, are you safe at home? Where are these bruises coming from? But I think that needs to take some time to build up to, because they're not
Yeah,
going to share unless they're comfortable with you.
yeah.
So it really depends on your level of comfort, or maybe someone who is closer to them in the workplace who you
Mhm.
can ask to intervene and get closer to them. So it's really about strategizing before you take the step to reach out to the survivor, and make sure you do it in a delicate way. You don't want them to run off and say, okay, well, now everyone's inquiring, so I quit.
Mhm.
That then they're back out in the wild in a dangerous space, where they might not have the support they have from their coworkers.
I love the word. I haven't heard that said together before, bystander intervention, which is why we do the work that we do. We have to be about being lifelong learners. Bystander intervention. So if you can hear me, Marilyn says, I'm still that girl. I still go to gently, still going to gently as I'll ask. I think that's what she meant. But this is so powerful. Thank you so much, by the way, for that. This is such an important conversation, because a lot of times if you are the boss, like I was in my case, I own my own practice. And what happened was my office manager, and you're right. Before I said the tell the story, you're right. You have to develop the relationship and become a safe space. You can't just go and just ask and just expect them to take, because they don't know you. They don't know if it's going to backfire. So you have to, literally, what my sixth book is titled Invited In. You have to create a safe enough space so that they will invite you in to their world. Because as the boss, you tend to close it off. You don't want to talk to anybody. And the next you know, heaven forbid, suicide, right? In my case, my office manager came to the house. She came, and now I'm thinking back, maybe that's what she was trying to do that day. I don't know, but she came to the house. And then when I got to work to the office the next day, I walked in and she's like this. I was like, what's going on? She said, you deserve an Oscar. I said, for what? She said, for acting. I said, acting what? She said she came to my house and saw how I was like a frightened chicken at home, like a mouse at home. And when I come to work, I'm the boss. She said, you deserve an Oscar because the person I saw in your house the other day couldn't even open her mouth to speak. That's how badly emotionally abused I was. I didn't even realize it was that bad.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
go ahead.
Don't you think her reaction was like, I mean, how do you feel about her reaction? Because it seemed very like accusatory, almost mocking you a little bit.
No, to me, I didn't see it that way. I mean, she didn't announce it.
Sensitive.
No, she didn't know. Well, I didn't know because we're very close. But she didn't announce it to the office. When I came into the office, usually we have like our morning, what do they call it? Huddle, me and her. But I walked into our office and she started clapping. I'm like, what? No, it was just me and her. It wasn't like in front of everybody. But I didn't feel that way. She saved my life.
That's so good.
Saved my life. And you know what? Maybe to her, that was how to get me because I'm also a very extroverted person. So I was very okay with that. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know she noticed. She's like, I noticed. And then she said, I was you. She said she was curled up in a fetal position for like so many hours. After one day, she was just like frozen. And that was when she said, you know what? I'm leaving, So for me, that connected with me. I was like, you're right. Thinking back, I was like, yeah, when I get to the house, I lose my energy. I lose my personality. I was just like a different person. So I'm just so thankful that she did that. Any other way probably would have not worked for me because she knows she was my office manager for like 6 years. So she knew me and she knew that was going to work and it worked for me. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I'm so glad she saved your life.
Yes. I was actively suicidal. I was very, very. As a matter of fact, I was also homicidal in my marriage. I woke up one night in cold sweat and I put a pair of scissors to his heart and I was going to it was bad. Like I said, the show could get crazy. That was me. And then the only thing that stopped me was I was like, this is the state of South Carolina. I'm going to get the death penalty and then my kids will have no parents. That's what stopped me. So when people have been abused to the point that they lose themselves, in the music, the moment, whatever, I didn't know who I was. I was like a zombie. So she did what she had to do and it worked for me.
Trauma changed you.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. So as we go on the second break, we're at the bottom of the hour. The show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. My guest today is Amber Johnson, CEO and founder of Amor Safe Center.
Amor Center and Safe House.
Amor Center and Safe House.
Yes.
In Atlanta, Georgia. Please go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, we're located in Atlanta, but all of our services right now are virtual. So even if you don't live in Atlanta, you're always welcome to join us and attend one of our online events.
Even better. So if you can hear us on TikTok or LinkedIn, wherever you're hearing us from, she also has virtual services and it's on Saturdays at what time again, ma'am?
The first Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes. So first Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern time, join them. And I'm going to be there, actually. I'm going to be there. I'm going to try to be there this Saturday for
Wonderful.
sure.
Thank you for joining
us. Because I'm a trauma survivor. I mean, this is not like, I feel like I'm Tina Turner sometimes, You're just acting on stage. Everybody just thinks you got it all together, but from whence you come. Yes. So we're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back. The show is Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. Please follow us on social media, follow her business, follow me, join us next Wednesday. It's at 1 p.m. Central. What is that? 10 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Eastern every single Wednesday. I'm so excited. All right, we're going to go on a quick break. We'll be right back. And so we are back. Woo. I feel like we should take a moment of silence. It's just so powerful what we're sharing here. So we're back with Amber Johnson, who is, so are you a licensed therapist? I mean, this is because I don't know. What is your background, if you don't mind my asking?
Yes, my credentials. I am a certified sexual assault victim advocate. I'm also a certified comedic Reiki practitioner and a life coach. And on our team, we have a great deal of therapists that we're always welcome to offer as resources. And they're sex worker friendly, LGBTQ plus friendly, and more.
Wow, I need to get my name on your resource list, not because I'm a sexual trauma resource, but because I work with parents of LGBT kids, and you never know, you might have a parent who is just worried about her child sharing
Yeah.
about sexuality. So I'm happy to add my name to that list. And so we're joined on TikTok by Marilyn. You are the MVP today. Thank you so much for joining us. Marilyn's TikTok. Oh, now I get your name, Marilyn's TikTok. Thank you so much for joining us, sending some love. I appreciate it. Please, if you have any questions for my guests, feel free to type them in the comment section. We will definitely tackle them as much as we can. We are talking about sexual trauma. And I know you mentioned earlier on about military and men.
Mm-hmm.
A group of people that people don't think about, or maybe people think about. I mean, I think in recent times, military for sure, we've seen, women that have come out and said that they were sexually assaulted, with women that have been killed. So we know that that's real. But this aspect of men and sexual assault, can we talk about that a little bit, especially Black men?
Absolutely. There's a huge stigma when it comes to male survivors because it's based on societal beliefs and rape culture programming that makes people believe that rape is not even possible when it comes to men survivors. And when we do talk about male survivors, cis heterosexual men, people say that they're weak, for getting raped. They say that it's every man's fantasy. I've literally heard someone say that before. I've also heard people say that it makes you gay or makes you effeminate. So, there are a lot of stereotypes that really need to be addressed because, number one, rape is about power, and it doesn't mean that the person who is sexually assaulted is weak physically or mentally in any way. If anything, you gain a lot of strength from surviving that. So, rape does not mean you're weak. It does not mean a man is weak for getting raped. It also doesn't make a person gay. And, the best way that I can describe that is that there are straight people who have been raped, and there are gay people who have never been raped. So,
Boom! That's
so you
it.
can't
If you,
say,
I think Marilyn, if you're still here, please let us know if you can hear her. So I don't know if I need to repeat what she said. I think Marilyn can hear you though. But Marilyn, let me know if I need to, and Yodi, all of these people that are joining us, let me know if I need to repeat what she's saying because she just unpacked a whole ton of bricks. A lot of people, one of the big misconceptions, which is why we talk about this, one of the huge misconceptions about the queer community is that you are gay because you were sexually assaulted. Unfortunately, enough sexual minorities, like I said at the beginning, are victims of sexual assault, and therefore sometimes you don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg. But like you rightfully said, we have enough people who are cis heteronormative humans who've never been sexually assaulted. Oh no, is that the other way? What was I saying? I don't know where I was going with that.
you have straight people who have been assaulted, and you
Yes.
have LGBTQ plus folks who have never been assaulted.
Assaulted. Yes. And coming to the, because we have to go there. Black men, I'm begging you. A child doesn't become effeminate because they were sexually assaulted. You can lock them up in a room for the first 12 years of their life. If they're effeminate, they're freaking nate. And so let's stop this talk about you're weak. As someone who was assaulted at 9, you can watch my TEDx talk for more of that. As someone who was assaulted, as a matter of fact, I was wearing this blouse on my TEDx talk. Someone who was assaulted at the age of 9, you are so right. It is about power from the assaulter. And you might even be physically stronger than them, But when they get your mind in that space, as you know, in children, because as a pediatrician, I talk about children a lot, children who have been assaulted, 99% of them know their assaulter. It's because we've now grown to trust them. We think that they're safe. So we allow ourselves to be vulnerable around them. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, there's this culture that we don't even want to talk about it. Nobody wants to say that they were assaulted. And so we all grow up with it. But coming back to what you said at the first quarter of the show, trauma lives, the body keeps the score. Trauma lives within you, which is why I have fibromyalgia, because your body doesn't forget. And so you have to heal your trauma. Oh my goodness, please tell us. Ooh, child, I need a break. I'll be right, girl. I can't. Girl, please tell us about healing trauma.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to, I want to circle back to the neurobiology of sexual assault as well. But when it comes to healing, it's about what makes you feel good. What makes you feel good in your body, mind, and soul after sexual assault. That is the best way to heal. So, that could be whatever you're called to do. A lot of survivors didn't say that no, or maybe they said their no and it was ignored. So singing or public speaking or writing, journaling, and poetry can help them open up their throat chakras again, and open up the energy of speech in their lives. Maya Angelou didn't speak for 5 years after she was sexually assaulted as a child. So, that is a very extreme and perfect example of how our throats and our voices can get lost when we are sexually assaulted. So I'm really into holistic healing. So,
Because you're a Reiki person. I heard you said throat chakra just now. I went to Bali for my 50th birthday to meet my spiritual ancestors. It was beautiful. I got to learn about chakras and stuff. You're really talking. I never knew that about Maya. Miss Queen Maya Angelou. Yeah. I never knew about that, but I'm not surprised that she was such a profound, phenomenal poet, and that makes a lot of sense. I know exactly why her caged bird sang.
Yes. And in that time that she didn't speak, she read every book in the library. When she finished all the books of the library, even the adult books, she went to the white library because, back then everything was segregated. So she read everything in the black library at the school. And then she went to the white library and read some of those books as well, started memorizing Shakespeare poems and plays, and was just so enthralled in reading. That's why she became such a wonderful writer when she did start speaking again. So, there are a lot of ways to heal from sexual assault. I think it's really important to look at the mind, body, and soul. So, we talked about the throat, healing the heart. That could be doing things that your inner child enjoyed. So art, dance, creativity, just laughter in general, reclaiming your body. That can be
reclaiming your body. Yes.
Reclaiming your body.
Wait, before you go any further, I love what you said about what healing your inner child. And if you can hear my voice, the show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. Please stay a while. This is so important. Healing the inner child is so powerful. My youngest son, he's 17, okay? He don't know jack about hopscotch. And I had to tell him, say, when I was a child, I loved hopscotch. And he was like, Mom, what's that? Barely looking up from his computer. I was like, it's a thing. And then we played it out. I wanted to see first of all, it was like, and then this is actually not bad. Of course, it's not bad.
Hopscotch is fun.
I know, because today's world, everybody's on the computer. But truth be told, going back to what you love doing, for me, has always been writing. And thank you so much for validating me and just saying what I never knew about Maya Angelou, because no wonder she was just a wordsmith of wordsmiths, right? When you've had your voice taken from you, you appreciate your voice. So if we stop the show here today, I've learned what I came to learn. But that was so powerful. No wonder I like writing and reading. But that's so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So my guest is Amber Johnson, from, and I just had COVID, so forgive me with my memory from,
Amor Centrance.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So she is talking to us today about first healing of self after you've been traumatized. And while the show is called Queer Wednesday Wizdom, we're talking about everyone who's been traumatized, particularly in of sexual trauma type. And it's not a far-fetched thought that queer people, the book I'm reading right now is called When Ren Came Out, and one of the kids in the book was talking about how people said, oh, two men that were following them on a random day said, oh, and we know why they're lesbians. They just haven't had good dick.
That's horrible.
That mindset, we're gonna fuck them straight. That kind of
that's called corrective rape.
Hello.
That's
rape
called
is rape.
corrective rape.
Exactly. But that is the number. I didn't know there was a name. I'm going to write that down. But that is the number one kind of rape that a lot of queer or sexually minor people, disabled people, people who are uniquely abled is what that lady on LinkedIn, calls it. Uniquely abled people, differently abled people. Just these are the kind of things that they face on a daily basis, because the child is quote unquote helpless. So let's take more of the little help, the energy that they don't have from them. And I'm happy that you mentioned earlier on, and I want you to talk again about the fact that men do get raped also. It's not just women that get raped, by men and by women.
Yes.
I might add. So can we talk about that a little bit? Because that's something that people get.
Yes. I mean, anyone can be raped of any gender, and a perpetrator can be of any gender as well. Men have even more stigma because when they go to report, sometimes they're laughed at, sometimes they're mocked, sometimes they're told that it's not sexual assault. And the laws themselves describe, specifically here in Georgia, the law of rape is specifically described as something that it can only happen to a woman by a man through penetration. So when I'm looking at the law in Georgia, I'm saying, how are men protected? I was told by a lawyer that men are protected through sodomy laws, but at the same time, that's still not enough.
Wait. You had me at through penetration only. You had me there.
That's specifically the laws for rape. There are laws that describe sexual assault, which is not just penetration, of course. Yeah. Sexual assault is that umbrella term, but the fact that rape, men are not protected by the laws in Georgia for rape is.
And I might add, neither are trans women. Just thinking out loud now, because they are in that bracket where we're looking at them like it's the same thing, right? They're transgender women, so technically that doesn't protect them either. Think about it, right?
That's horrible.
Wow. I used to live in South Carolina, okay? Mm-hmm. So I know all about archaic laws that need to be expunged and deleted and tried. And it is funny how the Supreme Court is more worried about a woman's body. Go ahead.
Well, but also I think, even if the law changed, which it still needs to change, people who are everyday citizens and jurors in these trials, they need to understand consent as well, because they'll never be able to rule in favor of the survivor if they're thinking with rape culture programming.
You tell them to follow the book of the law, follow it exactly the way it's written. And also coming back, even just kind of circling back to the fact that, honestly, I know this is not what the book says. I feel like the definition of rape should be, if I say it's rape, because most people do not own up to being raped. So I am yet to find a child, again, as a pediatrician, I want to talk about kids who say, let me see, of all the things I'm going to say I was raped. It's just not something that people just make up. Like, I had ham and cheeseburgers yesterday.
Absolutely not. Literally 96% of people who report a rape are telling the truth. The false rape claims are the exact same numbers as false murder claims and false robbery claims.
Hello.
So, people are telling the truth when they speak up. And I also wanted to talk about the neurobiology of sexual assault.
And I'm so happy you're saying that. Thank you so much. And we're going to go on a quick break and we get into the last quarter of the show. Then you can talk about that. So the show is called Qweer Wednesday Wizdom. My name is Dr. Lulu. I'm a life coach. I work specifically with parents of LGBT plus kids. I help them go from fear, shame, anxiety, guilt to unconditionally loving themselves first, and then, of course, accepting and affirming and supporting their queer kids. That's what I do for a living today. I'm a retired pediatrician. But this show is called Qweer Wednesday Wisdom, where we come and talk really, really honestly and really, really like unashamedly about any kind of thing that happens at the workplace or happens to you at home and you take to work with you, because hurt children are hurt adults, okay? So it's not like, oh, you are hurt as a child and now it's over. You grow up and you take it with you into adulthood. And yes, you will manifest your trauma if it's not taken care of at work if you go to work. And even if you own your own business, you can also manifest your trauma. So my guest today is Amber Johnson, who has just been so kind to join for a whole hour from the ATL. Please go check her out, find her on social media, follow her, follow the work that she's doing. Join them on Saturdays at
1 p.m.
Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 12 noon for me. Join them. They have a circle, a healing circle. Get your healing on. Is the in thing now. Is the ish, okay? Yes. Get your healing on, because trauma pays no one any good. And because I talk about suicide specifically, you and I know that ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, is one of the top reasons for adult suicide, not for suicide, period. So trauma is much more serious than what we're making it. So thank you so much again for joining us today. So as we round the corner and end the show, first, before you tell us about the neurobiology, because I know you want to tell us that, where can the people find you and follow you on social media?
Well, you can check out our website, which has all of our social media links. Our website is amour, A-M-O-U-R, the French way, amourcenter.com, amourcenter.com. And that is our the best way to find all of our social media pages. It has our LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram posted as well.
So amourcenter.com, repeat, amourcenter.com. I'm going to write that down. Y'all go check them out. It's not hard to find. And if you spell it wrong, hopefully Google will correct you. So go find amourcenter.com, join them, find out what they're doing, tell someone about them, because that's how people learn, word of mouth, the old-fashioned way. When you hear something good, tell people about it. We're so good at complaining about things and talking about the things that are not good. For once, do something positive. Tell somebody something good. When they say, tell me something good, have you heard about amourcenter.com?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about the neuroscience, and then we'll let you go. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, the neurobiology of rape is really just helping people understand and have a little bit more compassion for rape survivors, because I think a lot of people get blamed because of how they responded to the sexual assault. So you have to kind of get into that that science of sexual assault of the brain, what happens and occurs in the brain, to understand why so many people respond in the exact same way. So basically, I want to talk about the self-defense mechanisms that happen when a person is being sexually assaulted, which a lot of people criticize survivors for. But it's really important to understand that these natural self-defense mechanisms that come up are normal. We have no control over them. That is our body just doing what it thinks it can to protect us in a time of great fear and danger. So the first mechanism that comes up in pretty much all survivors is the freeze mode. And anyone who has been sexually assaulted can understand what it's like to freeze, to feel like you can't speak, to feel like you can't say no, feel like you can't move. The freeze mode is the most common natural defense mechanism that happens in survivors of rape and sexual assault. So before a person can move into fight or flight mode, they freeze first. And that is really important for people to understand, because it is not a person's fault if they froze. That is your body doing what it thought it was best at the time to endure the trauma. And then you also have flight mode and fight mode. So
Yes.
those are the most talked about trauma responses that a lot of people are aware of. But I wanted to mention the freeze mode because no one really talks about that, even though it's the most common reaction to an assault.
I love that. And that makes sense. If you now, I love what you said. The reason why so many people react the same way is because it's actually a science behind it. And so many people don't talk about it. And with women, and I'm just going to, I just kind of err towards that side because we unfortunately have the majority. It doesn't mean that we're the only ones, but we are the majority. A lot of times, well, what were you wearing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why were you on that part of town in the first place?
Why
And
were you with them?
why were you with them? I mean, if you know he does that kind of, I mean, these are questions
Mm-hmm.
that you don't think they've asked themselves that. Like, really? Do you think that the person who was just assaulted didn't ask herself, what was I doing there? So the thing about it is they're already, it's whether you like it or not, you're already going to come down so hard on yourself. So we're asking you all to please be allies. And I love what you said about being something bystander. What do you use? Bystander.
Under intervention. If you
Yes,
see something, say something.
yes, if you do something, say something. I just never put it together in that way. But yeah, so if you see something at work, especially, say something. And don't say something in the sense of a rumor, starting a rumor, say something with help. Because remember, if that's not you, that might be your child. That might be your sister.
God forbid.
I mean, I know I'm saying for you to think that if it's not you, I say, oh, it's none of my business. Because a lot of people say, oh, it's not my monkey or whatever. A lot of time it could be your sister or your family member. It could be somebody you know. And even if it's not someone you know, for goodness sakes, be a good Samaritan already. And just doing right is always the right thing to do. So I love that. I love that point of bystander, whatever you call it. I can't remember.
Intervention.
Intervention. I
Yes.
need you to please do that at the workplace. If you see something, say something, be the one for the person. There's a whole hashtag called hashtag be the one for. Be the one person that person can reach out to. And to do that, you have to first cultivate a relationship. You have to first let them know that you're safe. Don't turn around and betray someone that's already hurt so much. That's unneeded. So thank you so much, Amber. It has been amazing. I never know how these are gonna go. Oh my God. And thank you so much for joining us, Marilyn's TikTok. Sugar Pig 1970. Thank you so much. I'll have the weirdest names. Thank you so much for joining us. The show is called Qweer Wednesday Wisdom. My name is Dr. Lulu. If you're not following me, please follow me. 1, 2. If you're a parent of a queer child and you're struggling with understanding what's going on with your child, you're feeling ostracized, your church has abandoned you, your friends have abandoned you, your family members have abandoned you. You find yourself fighting a fight with yourself, with your child, with your spouse, with the world, and you need community. Please send me a DM. We have friends that have walked and are walking your path and are ready to help you. My name is Dr. Lulu. I'll join you again, or rather, join me again next Wednesday. My guest has been Amber Johnson. Thank you so much for my brand new LinkedIn boom. So excited. We're gonna we you know what we need to do? Let's just kind of put it in the universe right now. We need to do an event together.
Yes, I love that idea.
We've put it out. What's the month for sexual assault? Is there like a sexual assault month?
Sexual Assault Awareness Month is in April.
Okay, that's it. Next April, y'all stand by.
Yes.
Amber Johnson and I are going to be doing something. We don't know what yet, but we've told the universe. I'm going to touch my lucky flag. This is me when I was in the Air Force.
Oh, I love that.
This is Lieutenant Colonel Ume. She has spoken. That's me right there. We are going to do something. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We are planning a fundraiser. So that is definitely a great way to support the organization and to, be a part of what we're doing.
Well, anything you do now, find me, tag me, I'll repost it. That's the very least I can do.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. And We are here for you to support you as survivors. We're in this together. You know, bystander intervention saves lives. You are not alone. So please remember that you are not alone as a survivor. There is hope and healing is possible.
Yes. And on that note, I can't even add more to that. Thank you so much for joining us. It's your girl, Lakasha. Thank you for joining us on TikTok. Everyone has been amazing. Thank you so much. I almost want to call you Monique because your name is also Monique, but thank you
Yes, you can. My middle name.
so much for joining us, y'all. Whoo! Be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. And if you see something, say something. Believe me, you might be the only person who's going to say something. All right. Peace, love, and so bye, y'all. Bye, Amber. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I'll
Thank
give you
you.
the link if you want to share it on your page.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. All right, TikTok. Thank y'all. Bye.